Hello and welcome. In this video we will talk about custom services. Okay, so let's go into services, overview. Okay, and let's hit the button in the top right corner, create service. So what custom services are designed for and mostly used for is those services that you sell that require evaluation. So of course we all try to sell as much productized stuff as we can or subscription stuff as we can, but there comes times when you need those custom services and you need to present a client a custom evaluation. That is where the custom service type comes in and shines. So this will be the service that when a customer submits a request for a custom service, the flow here is pretty much that they should fill out the form, give you as much initial information about the thing that they are trying to get from you, buy from you. Based on that, you should be able to evaluate the project and send them a quote. When there is an optional step of them approving the quote if you want the approval on paper, and afterwards you send them a payment request, they pay for the quote, and you basically can begin your work. Now let's see how we can actually create it. So first of all, let's give our service a name. We'll call it a test custom service. Let's choose a workflow. If you want to know more about workflows, you can watch my other video on the subject. Choose custom service workflow. Financial settings are pretty much the same for every paid service, so you can choose the payment method, currency, tax support, and should the invoice be issued or not. So we will leave all these options as is. Now we can go to the order page. The order page, as you know from other services, has the service catalog settings and the single page settings and also the order form itself. So, okay, this will stay as is. And for the image, let's again choose something from an unsplash.com. Okay, here I have an image. Okay, let's copy some text. Okay, this is too long. And let's paste it as a description also. Maybe make this one a little shorter. We will use the same image. So here is the order form. As I said at the beginning, the order form ideally would be used to collect all the necessary information about the project or whatever you will be evaluating. So please make sure to add as much fields as you need and to guide your customer to getting you those information, because this is also crucial to kind of steer your client towards the right answers. Okay, for the sake of this example, I will just leave it as is. So I think we can save this. Before we go any further, I want to show you the workflow that we have chosen for this service. So here, as you can see, we have custom service workflow. I will hit edit. Here are all the different statuses that we have for this service. And as you can see here, we have also set up triggers. And we have a trigger for a new request that will get awaiting evaluation. Then when quote is sent, it will get awaiting approval. And when the payment request is sent, the status will be awaiting payment. And at the end, it will be marked as paid. So please keep this in mind. So let's now switch to the client view. Here I am logged in as a client. I will order our custom service. Let's give it a title of custom logo design. Let's get some description. We won't attach any file. Let's send the request. Here, as you can see, my invoice details were extracted from my account and pre-filled for me. So this is crucial for your clients to have all those mandatory informations filled, because otherwise you won't be able to send them a quote, because we need these basic details to issue a quote. As you can see here, we have the details that we submitted with the form and a message from our Zenbot. If you want to learn more about Zenbot, please watch my workflows video. And now let's switch back to our agent view. So I will go into requests, custom logo design. And as you can see here, I can see pretty much the same information that our client. Okay, so let's send the client the quote for the custom logo. So as you can see here at the top, we have the quote name, and we can select a service that the quote will be based on. So what this means is that, for example, if you have a productized service for a logo, but some of your clients require custom work, you don't need to pre-fill all the item fields. You can just select one of your productized services and change the values. So if you have more complex services with a lot of items, you don't have to build those from scratch every time. Of course, you can delete the line items, you can edit their quantity or pricing. Below that, we just have the financial settings, which are pretty standard. So as a payment method, I will choose Stripe, and I want to issue an invoice automatically after the client pays for this quote. I will give it a name of custom logo design. The issue date is today, of course, and the payment due date can be set in the settings, how many days will be added. We have the default settings of 14 days. And I can, of course, change this here. On the right side, we have three options. Send a quote, which will send the quote to the client immediately. We have a second option of send and ask for approval, which will send the quote to the client, but also ask him to approve it. And once he approves the quote, the payment request will be sent to him afterwards. So we do not send it immediately. With the first option, the payment request will be sent to the client immediately. With the second one, only when the client accepts the quote, we will ask him to pay for it. And the last one is save as draft. If you want to ask more questions to the client and you are not sure about the quote, you can always save it as a draft. So for this example, we will use the second option, send and ask for approval. So I have send the quote, as you can see it here, and I can edit it because, of course, I'm an agent. So if you need to do any changes, you can. You just need to hit update quote. And let's now see how this looks from the client perspective. So here, as you can see, from the client point of view, you have the same message with the quote. You can view the quote. You can download the quote if you want to, for example, send it to another department or your colleague, or you can just approve the quote or reject it. You can also do that, of course, from the quote view in the top right corner. We will approve the quote. Here is a proof that we approved the quote with the information that can be easily found in the conversation. And here is a payment request from our Zenbot with the quote still attached. You can, of course, pay for it from the quote or from the message bubble here. So I will hit pay now. It will redirect me to Stripe. I'm in the sandbox environment, so I will use the standard card number and my standard details and hit pay. So now we will be redirected back to the platform. The invoice will be automatically issued, and as you can see, during this whole process, the status of the request was automatically updated by the platform. So first, when we sent the quote for approval, the status was changed to awaiting approval. Then once the quote was approved and we sent the payment box, the status was changed to awaiting payment. And at the end, the status was changed to paid once the client paid for the quote. And once the quote is paid, we have the invoice automatically generated by the ZenBot. Here we can download it. We can also view the quote that the invoice is based on, and we can view the invoice itself. So let's just see how it looks. You can select the logo, of course, in your financial settings. Okay, let's try another example. Okay, so for the sake of keeping things clean, let's submit a new request. We will call this one custom website design, copy some text, and let's just send the request. Okay, here we have a new request. Let's switch to the operator view. As you can see, it is awaiting evaluation because this is how we set up the workflow. And let's create a new quote. We'll do this one from scratch. We won't select any service. So let's call it custom website design for Cuba. Let's add item, and this will be design hours. Let's call it 120, price $50 an hour. Okay, let's choose payment method as Stripe and automatically issue an invoice. Okay, and what we will do for this one is send the quote without an approval. So we will automatically send the quote, and it will also automatically send the payment request. So as you can see here, also the status was automatically changed to awaiting payments, because this is how we set our triggers. When payment request is sent, change status to awaiting payment. Okay, so now let's go back to the client view. And as you can see here, we have the message with the quote, and also attached to it there is the payment link. So of course we can view the quote as a client, and as you can see also from here we can pay for the quote. Let's just pay normally. Okay, so I will use the Sandbox credit card. Let's do standard details for Sandbox and pay. And as you will see in a second, the status will automatically change to paid because the payment was proceeded, yes. And here we can see an information from ZenBot that the quote was paid in full, and ZenBot automatically generated the invoice itself. So we can see it here. It's pretty straightforward. That's all the information you need to know about custom services. If you have any questions, please leave them below. And as always, thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Cheers!